Hey, Epiphany Tribe. Today with me, I have Mel New. She is a Christian dating coach and entrepreneur, and the founder of If You Know, You Know Dating, or IYKYK. Uh, she hosts monthly in-person Christian speed dating events in over 20 cities across the United States. She also leads an online community of over 7,500 Christian singles nationwide, which is amazing. They've also seen over a dozen marriages, which is pretty epic. The vision behind If You Know You Know Dating is to create intentional space where Christian singles can meet, form meaningful connections, and pursue kingdom-centered marriages and families. Mel is passionate about helping others find freedom in emotional and spiritual health, whether through inner healing ministry, mentorship and discipleship, or dating coaching. Above all, she is a lifelong student of the presence of God, which is amazing. You can connect with her on Instagram at IYKYK.dating and join the speed dating waitlist for an upcoming event in a city near you at www.iykykdating.com. And I'm going to put all of that stuff in the show notes so that way everybody can have access to it. So, Mel, thank you for joining me. I'm super excited to have this conversation with you. Some people may know that I used to be a part of the group,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how we met. And it's been a while, so I'm just super glad to like catch up and see how everything's been going, how the business has expanded, and yeah, I just can't wait to hear more.
Oh, well, thank you for having me.
You're
Yeah,
welcome.
you were one of our very first moderators for our Facebook group,
I
helping it
was.
grow when it was just in its infancy. So yeah, you get to be part of the IYKYK dating legacy.
I do. But yeah, so like tell me, it's grown a lot since
Mhm.
those days. And how many cities are you in now again?
So we are in anywhere between 20 and 25 cities,
Okay.
depending on the month and depending on if we can fill out an event completely.
Mm-hmm.
But we have a presence in probably like 30 cities, but we don't necessarily do monthly regular speed dating events in every single one of the cities, at least not yet.
Okay, awesome. Can you give me like a quick rundown of like what an event looks like? Because I don't know if you've changed it at all since the last time
Mhm.
we talked. So yeah, what does
Yeah,
that
so
look like?
probably since the last time you and I had talked, or since you were moderating with us, which was a few years ago, we were really focused on in-person mixers. And so we are now doing more of speed dating. So the difference between the two is speed dating, there's anywhere between probably 7 and 15 girls and 7 and 15 guys. And you talk to every single person for a specific amount of time. And you have a host
Okay.
that rotates you. And so it's a lot smaller number, but you talk to everybody. And then for a mixer, it's anywhere between 40 and it could even be up to 150 people. Still even ratios, approximately even ratios, but it's more of a open format, still very structured, but you're not guaranteed you're going to talk to everybody. So it just really
Mm.
depends on what style you prefer. And it's worked out both ways, but we realized to be able to scale and to be able to be in multiple cities and to be able to train people to find venues that can accommodate um, that large of a space for mixers just wouldn't really be practical to do that. So you need a lot of
Hmm.
people and you need a lot of space and you need a lot of time for setup and tear down. And so I was like, why don't I just do monthly speed dating so I can have smaller venues, smaller number of people we need to get in, and it's pretty easy to train hosts. So this past summer, 2025, I just, pedaled to the metal, found a lot of venues, found a lot of hosts, and then just started advertising for it, and they've gone really successfully.
So that's super exciting.
Yeah, it's been really
Um,
exciting.
yeah, I love that. That is definitely different than how it was set up, but I think that I mean, to me as a single, it would sound like that would be better to like go and have a bunch of different conversations instead of feeling like there's so many people in this room and now what do I do
Hmm.
with myself?
Hmm.
You
Totally.
know?
Totally. I think it really lends to if you're more of an extrovert versus introvert. I think the style of event it is different for each. I mean, obviously an introvert can still go to a mixer and an extrovert can still go to speed dating, but it definitely is easier if you're a little bit more shy or get overwhelmed with like a big group of people. The speed dating is much easier because then you don't have to figure out how am I going to make an awkward like introduction or step into this conversation. Although, like I said, it's very structured. But yeah, so speed dating has been very successful for a lot of people.
Awesome. That sounds super exciting. So we kind of talked off camera a little bit about like the age ranges, and I just
Hmm.
kind of wanted to have you explain that again, just in
Hmm.
case people don't know. Like what is the current age range that you guys are like working with?
Hmm. Yes. So we realize we need to have an age range on these things because a 50-year-old
Yeah.
want to date a 20-year-old. Well, maybe sometimes they do, but we don't want to promote that. So, so we have been playing around with age ranges for years and being like, okay, what's the best age range that'll be the most inclusive, but also you can't include everybody. That's just you just can't. And so we settled on men and women actually having different age ranges. And before anybody comes at me for this, I just want to explain we do this intentionally and it's strategic. And so we do the women from 25 to about 34. And then for the men, we have 29 to 39-ish. And this is because, for better or for worse, we have found that majority of women that sign up when we have just an open age range, it tends to be on the upper end. And with men, we tend to see it's more on the lower end of the men that actually end up signing up. I don't think this is a reflection of what is actually in the market, but rather I think this is what the market wants, or who wants it in the market just tends to be the younger guys and the older women for whatever reason. And but what the market so what the consumers actually want is typically younger women and older men. I mean, think about it. As a 30-year-old woman, would you rather date a 25-year-old guy or a 35-year-old guy? You probably
Mhm.
would be like, if I had to choose, I'd probably pick 35. And if you're a 30-year-old guy, would you rather date a 25-year-old woman or a 35-year-old woman? I mean, that one's honestly a toss-up, but most would say, oh, I'd go a little younger. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just
Mhm.
how it is. And so if we have people coming who are slightly older women and slightly younger men, people will walk away unhappy and feeling like, oh, I didn't really meet anybody I was actually going to potentially marry. So for that reason, we've skewed the numbers because as a business, we also have to continue to be able to operate, continue to sell tickets that will be the most conducive to finding matches that could actually go somewhere. And we've found that that age range is also there's the most demand. And so maybe someday we'll be able to do, an even older women's age range with an even older man age range. But for now, with our constraints, that's what we have. So women 25 to 34, and then men 28, 29 to 39-ish.
Okay. Thank you for explaining that.
Yeah.
I think it's important though to, to touch on why it was or why you're
Hmm.
doing it that way, because we can all be like, "Ugh, lame."
How dare they?
I've aged out of that and that's like
I
it can be
know.
disappointing, but at the same time, you know, it's important to allow the business owner to explain why instead of just jumping
Hmm.
to conclusions. So,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. And I hate that that's the way it is. I mean, I am about to be 34 myself and I'm single. And so, I'm about to pretty much age out. Well, not almost, right? And so it's
Right.
not like a social construct, or I'm not saying that women who are older are worth less. And to even encourage women who are older, you have to understand that it's not that the men don't exist. It's just that they don't usually they're not really lining up to come into an event like this as much as women are, and that is just the way it is. Younger men are just more usually open to new experiences. They're a bit more impulsive. And so in these cases, it's a good thing. So like, hey, why not try it out? And as any of us get older, we're like, oh, I don't know if that'll really work. I'm not sure. And they get busy. And so I don't know, just for older women to know that older men are out there. They just aren't always at events like this. They should be. And if you're an older guy listening, there's so many women who just are waiting to meet you. Um,
Hmm.
but that's just kind of how it is. And I'll also say there's also another requirement is that you have to want kids, or I guess legally we can't say you have to do any of these things. This is who it is designed for, or aimed towards people who want kids or want to adopt kids. It doesn't mean like if you cannot biologically have kids, you cannot be there. You can always adopt. But again, we are trying to find people's lifelong match for them. We're not, this isn't just a tea party for Christians, right? This is an intentional place. And so if you feel like you're singled out or what, like, why isn't there something for me? I would encourage go make your own thing. That is very specific for things that you want, because everybody gets to have niches, and this is just the niche that we have decided works for us in our company.
Yeah, you explained that perfectly.
Thank you.
Um, and I think that because you touched on, older men and like not really being at these kind of events. And the irony of that is like, yes. Because I've been to not obviously I have not been to an if event, but I have been a part of other groups where we've done like meetups and gatherings and different stuff like that. And for whatever reason, that seems to be where the guys are. They're
Mm,
not doing like an official
mhm.
like speed dating
Right?
thing or, that kind of event. They're coming to like an Airbnb type weekend to meet all of these people.
Hmm.
And it's super amazing to meet all these guys, but at the same time, we've had these conversations where I'm like, why are you guys not going to these events? And almost all of my guy friends have been like, it's not for me. That's not how I want to meet people. I know. And so I've challenged them a little bit though, because I'm like, well, then, but you're here meeting people, so like, what's the difference? And they keep saying it's low pressure.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay,
Mm.
so what we need to do, ladies who are older, is figure out low pressure ways for these men to come out of their shells and like actually meet us.
Right.
Um, and I think too that kind of touches on the whole like dating app topic a little bit because I feel like more of us are just like, dating apps are not where it's at. At least I
Mm.
am. And and I think that has to do with like the pressure aspect of it too, to an extent of like, oh, you're on a dating app, then you have to be going on all these dates.
Mm.
And I don't know, like in reality, it shouldn't feel like that much pressure, in my opinion.
Hmm.
How else are you supposed to meet people unless you're like going to church or like going to
Hmm.
events and like actually putting yourself out there? And it doesn't have to be, I'm gonna marry this person tomorrow. Like,
Totally.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, Anyway, I don't know if you had anything to throw into that point, but
Oh, I very much do. I'm actually a pretty big fan of dating apps, and not
mm,
that I'm a big fan because they're a great piece of technology that has enabled a lot of people to meet. And I think that, as with anything, you have to look at it like a resource, and you have to or a tool, and you have to use the tool in the way that it's intended.
mm,
And something that I've always harped on with my clients, and I had like a online dating workshop, and the biggest thing with dating apps is you have to just remember it's just a tool. It's a fishing pole in a pond with lots and lots of people. And you go to church, that's another fishing pole. You go to a speed dating event, that's another fishing pole. These are all just fishing poles. The more fishing poles and lines you have in the pond, the more bait you have, like the more likely you're going to catch fish. And so just statistically, and so if you treat it like it's your only lifeline, though, you're probably going to get really stressed. And it is a delicate balance where sometimes you can get overwhelmed. And I'm sure anybody who's been on the app just knows the overwhelm. They know the discouragement, the hopelessness. So you do need to temper that and just make sure you're being aware.
mm,
But I think just too many people have met their spouses on Hinge and on online dating apps to say, that's not for me, or that's not the way I want to meet somebody, I'd say, well, why does it why does it matter how you meet somebody? That's just where I'm at personally. Like I get it. It'd be cute if it's one way, but I'm like, I just want to meet somebody at this point. I don't care how I meet them. But I think there's also a reality of it is appearance based. There's
Hmm.
no way around that, whether it should be or shouldn't be. Part of romance is you need to be attracted to them. Now it's hard because in pictures, sometimes people are not photogenic, and it certainly does not encapsulate who that person is and how they move and how they talk. But I think that for men who are under 6 foot or under 5'10", that it will be harder. It just will because you're gonna likely be filtered out early on. Not impossible though. For women who are over 30. I mean, I know the shift for me when I went from 29 to 30, there was a shift. I mean, it's been a slow kind of like gradual decline over the years. I'm almost 34 now. And yes, it's gotten harder. There's been less options, but not as hard as it's going to be when I'm 40. I mean, God forbid I'm still single, whatever. The Lord is still, but it's like, it is harder, but it's still not impossible. And same with like conventional attractiveness or being fit or not. Like, yes, that those things are going to be going to make it harder and narrow down your choices. But it's not impossible because there's just, I mean, people who are not fit get married and they meet people on Hinge. People who are under five, guys who are under 5'10" still get married off a Hinge. Like people who are over 40 still get married off of Hinge and different dating apps. And so I think it's important just to be like, well, would you rather be on there and maybe find somebody, or would you rather just not be on there at all and just be like, no, it's not for me. And I think just, yeah, I just, my biggest thing is I just never want to look back and be like, oh man, there was so much more I could have done when I was younger, and I wasn't doing everything I could have done. Now there's waiting on the Lord. And I firmly believe that I'm single because the Lord doesn't want me to be married yet. I mean, I freaking run a speed dating event company and go to these events, and I'm on so many dating apps, and I've done my healing, and it just at this point it just I can only be like it's literally because the Lord hasn't brought the right guy yet. Um, but I'm like, I want to be moving forward. I want to be moving towards what I want. So I'm going to continue to be on the dating apps. I'm going to continue to go to my own events. I'm going to continue to be looking on who's posting on my Instagram, Facebook group. And I feel like sometimes that's the hardest part of continuing on in faith because
Mm,
it's gonna be so disappointing but it just hasn't worked yet. So I'm just going to stop. Again, there's times for breaks, but just because it hasn't worked yet doesn't mean it's not going to work. And you see this even in business and people who are just successful in life. They don't stop just because it didn't work. They have a
mm,
resiliency to them. They have a grit to them where they're like, well, then I'm just going to try it a different way, or I'm going to keep trying things because eventually something's got to stick, or I'm going to learn a lesson. So
hmm.
that's my big long spiel on dating apps and how it even relates to day-to-day life and endurance in our faith.
Mhm. Amen. Amen. I mean, I don't like them, but I agree with you.
Yeah, yeah. Don't have to like them.
Yeah, yeah, it's so true. I mean, I've thought about it recently just because like being in a new city and,
Hmm.
and all of that and not being in California anymore is a
Yeah.
huge difference. Um,
Yeah.
you know, but like in that realm, I feel like not that I'm not open to finding somebody like tomorrow, but I really
Mhm.
feel like I'm on this trajectory that God has me on, and there's things that I need to do before that happens. And so not that and words, and I'm actively working towards those things, right? And
Mhm.
so I have had so many amazing conversations with the Lord lately. Um, and like where I feel like he is leading me with
Mhm.
my brand and like all of this different stuff and this growth path that he has me on. And it's like, okay, but also still like, where's the husband? But in that, it's been beautiful because he just keeps reminding me of a promise that he made a few years back. And I'm like, okay, each new guy that I meet, I'm like, here's my little, it's very short checklist now. It's not very long, but
Mhm.
these things that I'm like, I've been praying in. praying into and over for a while now
Hmm.
as just like reminders of like what God has said and like this is who my person is going to be. This is how he's going to like fit into my life. And it's been so beautiful to just see the like pruning away in all honesty of like other people
Hmm.
because I'm like, oh, you don't fit into that. I'm sorry to
Hmm.
see you go, but it's also this is the process that God has me in right now. And um I'm just thankful for it. Like years ago, I was not. I'm like, why? I don't want to be
Right.
alone. I want to deal with this.
Right. You're just
So
taking everybody away from me, God. What the heck? Yeah.
yeah. But now I'm like, okay, well, you were a reason and a season, and I love you and I thank you for it. Bye-bye. So
Yes, I love that. You were a reason. You were a season. What was it?
you are a reason and a season. So like there's the old saying
Ah.
there's the people come into your life for a reason, people come into your life for a season, and
Mm.
people come into your life for a lifetime.
Wow. Okay. I like
Yeah,
that.
and so it's been funny because I've been finding out how there's a lot of crossover between reason and a season. You
Hmm.
know?
Yeah,
And
it seems to happen like that often.
yeah, and so I'm like, okay, because seasons are can be very short and also very long. And so how does that connect in and like what does that look like? Even within like our brands and like what we've been trying to do, like those have gone
Hmm.
through different seasons, and it's just it's amazing to see like how we I'm going to say both of us how we've
Hmm.
both been like able to grow through like all of this stuff over the last few years and
Yeah.
be completely different places than we were. I mean, even different state now, and we happen to be in the same state again, which is
I know.
wild. um, but it's so beautiful to like kind of look back on and reflect for me. Like
Hmm.
that's how I always realize how much I've grown is to look back and go, oh, okay, I see what you were doing there, God, and I
Yeah.
see why now.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, reasons and seasons, it's just like, okay, like whether if it's a guy or a girl, even a girlfriend, it's like,
Yeah.
okay, I love and appreciate what lessons you taught me
Hmm.
and what God was able to do through you and through like our relationship, but also I've realized I don't have to hold on to everybody and like that's okay.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a hard lesson, but such an empowering and liberating lesson once you're like, oh yeah, like people are here for a reason and a season, and not
Mm-hmm.
everybody is forever. Because then it takes that pressure off of like, I need to make this friendship work, or even need to make this relationship work.
Mm-hmm.
And because I think with the Lord, like he cares about our relationships, and something that always helps me is I have to remember and remind myself like, okay, God actually cares more about marriage than I care about marriage, cares more about my future marriage than I do, cares more about my friendships than I cares more about this business than I do. And just
Mm-hmm.
remembering to like really put it back into his hands and be like, hey, God is for me, God is for me, God is for me. I will do my part, but God is for me, and he's for relationships. And then to remember also like all the things that he has done. That's the thing I try to do every morning is be thankful and remember everything he's done and then intercede. But like when I'm in my prayer time, but just remember like, okay, remember how my friend Maddie was literally a missionary in Bali and she reconnected with an old high school friend and then they got married and he moved over there with her. Like, what?
Yeah.
Like that doesn't happen every day because the Lord wanted it to happen and she didn't have to do anything. And not, I'm never advocating that women don't do anything, but just being like, the Lord can do these things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think being open to the possibilities too is like
Yeah.
so amazing because obviously, yeah, I'm not saying I'm sitting back and not doing anything. But at the same time, just kind of letting go and like opening up our hands and being like, okay, like I have my idea of who I think my future husband should be and like
Hmm.
who how he should act and like all that stuff, but being willing to just go, okay, these are my desires, but Lord, your
Right.
will be done,
Yeah.
and to just hold it so loosely and be able to just kind of sit back, be like, okay, there it is. Here, I've laid it down. Now
Yeah.
I will wait and see and be pleasantly surprised.
That's the hardest one, like laying it on the altar. Because the altar is like where things go to get killed. When they
Hmm.
bring like a lamb to the altar, it's so it gets slaughtered. And, Abraham's bringing Isaac up the mountain, not just for a camping trip, but to kill him. And I love that when in that story where Abraham's bringing Isaac up the mountain, he's saying he had so much faith in the Lord that if he killed Isaac, he's like, the Lord will bring him back to life, which is crazy
Hmm.
because Jesus hadn't even resurrected yet. Obviously, it's in the Old Testament, but Abraham had so much faith that like if need be, like he will bring my son back to life if I kill him. And I was like, dang. And so that I've had that kind of moment of real surrender. Actually, it was at the end of 2025, so like over New Year's, where I really had to like I was just miserable, feeling like I was just in this short season, just being like so sad about being single. And it's when we're not letting go that it's like, oh, everything sucks. I'm such a victim because I'm building this platform and I'm helping everybody else get married. God, what the heck? Why am I not married? And being like, okay, but am I actually willing to put that desire of marriage or getting what I want on the altar, knowing if I do that, like it's safe on the altar. It's not actually me like throwing it away in the garbage. It's sacrificing it to the Lord. And he has
Hmm.
the power to give it back to you. And if he wants it to be given back to you, he will give it back to you. And so that's always just really helped me in being like, okay, the safest place I can put my dreams is on the altar to the
Hmm.
Lord because he honors that. And it doesn't mean I'm going to get it back, but it frees me up to being like, I don't need to get it back. I still want it back, but if you want me to be the 50-year-old lady who finally finds her husband at 50 years old, because I think I'm gonna get married eventually. I certainly don't want to be 50 when it happens. Okay, Lord, like I'll do it. And then I think that freed me a lot.
Hmm.
But man, it's hard.
So hard. It's so hard to just let it go, not pick it back up, right? To just be like,
Yep.
okay, I'm gonna keep doing my thing.
Hmm. Hmm.
You know, um, okay, so let's kind of wrap this conversation up because I know that you're gonna lose light and I don't want you to lose light.
I was about to say.
Um, so I guess like the question I have for you is what is your hope moving forward with if you know, you know, and like what does that look like?
Yeah. Oh, I love that. It's something I ask the Lord often. Okay, where do you want to take this? What do you want to do with this? And I would love to continue to expand it into every major city, have 30, 40 events every month. Um, I think that would just be so cool just to at least have an event where people could hopefully get there driving, like in every part of the country. Even if they
Mm,
have to drive a couple of hours, they're still somewhat, although we do actually recommend we're like, if you're more than 30 or 40 miles away, don't come because we don't really, because people are there to meet locals. But the idea that everybody can kind of be, it can be accessible to a lot of people. Because I mean,
mhm,
I want to see more kingdom marriages happen. And I just know that if I can do something about it or if I can help in any way, like that's what I want. And that's ultimately that's why I started this. I want to see more people get married. It was first probably because I wanted to get married, but now I'm like, Lord, like this is in your will. So many people are struggling with this. So like, how can I genuinely help more people find either hope or encouragement with dating, but ultimately find their spouse? And so I would love to expand to more cities. I've been just like dreaming with the Lord and just trying to think of ways not only to make more money, but to serve more people. And I think
mhm,
with business, like making more money is very godly because if you make more money, you're able to give more. And I know that's such like a like, okay, yeah, she wants to make more money, she wants to give more. But it's true, like you really can be a blessing to more people. And you can like I can then invest in better technology to do, like my speed dating events, like
mm,
I really want to make this a really robust system where everybody has access to an event like this or want to do more like I want to maybe do online events as well, online speeding. That would be so cool. Um, we're actually in the process of trying to like hire some more assistants so we can continue to expand the team. I've been just thinking of some other fun little side projects that I want to do, maybe just for women. And that those ones I haven't gotten released from the Lord to do it yet, but I've just been kind of thinking about some other little projects, but super, super excited and love that the Lord, he always gives me ideas um and yeah, I think I'm learning though not to necessarily just run with the idea yet, but to give it some prayer and thought. But I really do want to expand this and make it more accessible. And then the my last thing, and this is really one of like the pillar visions that I would love to see happen before, like while I'm still running this business. Who knows how long it's gonna, hopefully, they're 10, 20 years, but
Mm-hmm.
that I would be running it and then hand it off to somebody else. But I would love to partner with churches. Like this is like my dream to
Mm-hmm.
bring mixers to churches. So so any pastors are listening to this or anybody want to send this to your pastor because I think it's just such a win on every front in that I want to essentially partner with 3 to 4, 4 to 5 like big churches in a city. And so they're the ones who are essentially inviting the people, getting them in. But on my end, it would be the face of IYKYK Dating, and that would take away liability. That would take away any, churches have to make hard age line cutoffs. That's hard for a church to do because they're like, you meanie old church, but meanie old IYKYK Dating could totally do it and it not be like, or, people are like, well, I met him at this event, but it's not this church's event if, something goes wrong down the line in a relationship. And so I just think it'd be good for the church. Also, then I would run the event. I would, do all the logistics around it. And they would just help funnel people to the event, essentially. And so it
Mm-hmm.
would be like the easiest singles event they would ever have to throw. They wouldn't have to touch a thing. They wouldn't even have to put up a lot of money for it because I would just keep the ticket sales. It's like literally a win on every front. And you'd get like a well-oiled machine, a really, really good mixer. And then we would keep super, super like meticulous um, track of the tickets to make sure that we only have this much of this age range, this many of this age range, make sure these many are women, this many are men. Like I have like written it all down to the exact amount. And that, I mean, that takes a lot of manual effort
Mm-hmm.
to throw like I don't know, 100 to 200 person event where maybe once a 2 times a year or once a quarter, you bring just everybody together. And but the churches are the one that are inviting and encouraging the older men to come too. Oh, I think that would be so fun, and I think it would be so fruitful, and it would just be such a win. And so that I'm really hoping for, praying into. I just think it just takes it's going to just take a few key players because we've been around now for a few years and have a good reputation. And I think just maybe meeting like a JP Pacluta or a Jenny Allen or Lisa Bevere or somebody who just has all these connections with these church leaders that can vouch for me and be like, no, she's legit. She's, has integrity and is going to put on an event that, you can trust her to do a good job with it. Then I really think that people are actually going to meet other people in this low pressure setting. So that is my biggest hope and dream for this year or maybe even into next year.
I love that. That is so amazing. And I'm definitely going to be praying about that for you too. That would be epic to just kind of see that all come to life.
Yeah.
So, yeah, thank you for joining me. It was really
Thank you
great
so
to
much
catch
for having
up.
me.
Of course. But yeah, I think I'm just gonna leave it at that. Everybody go follow Mel and let us know how you enjoy this episode. See you next time.